Hey plant folks, welcome back to the channel. Everyone hunts for the little pups sprouting around the base of an aloe, but here's something almost nobody notices. Once the flower spike finishes blooming and starts to fade, a tiny new plant can actually form right up on that old stalk. Today I'm going to walk you through turning that overlooked stalk baby into a full-grown aloe of its own. And along the way, I'll hand you a feeding trick built entirely from stuff sitting in your kitchen cabinet right now. If plants are your thing, tap that subscribe button so these kitchen cabinet tricks keep landing in your feed. Let's dig in. Grab a clean pair of shears and snip the section of the old flower stem that's holding this baby plant. It already has its own little leaves formed, which means it's fully capable of living on its own from here. Cutting it loose at just the right moment gives it a head start, faster rooting, sturdier growth, and a much better shot at surviving the transplant. From there, rinse the whole thing under the tap. This step knocks loose any grit, dust, or leftover residue clinging to the leaves and stem, and it also lowers the odds of dragging bacteria or fungus into whatever soil it lands in next. Rinsing it off also makes it way easier to spot mushy roots, tired leaves, or any bruised spots that need attention before you ever put it in soil. On top of that, a good wash opens the plant up to more airflow and clears away anything sitting on the surface that could cause trouble, setting it up to settle into its new home much more smoothly. Next, trim away that dried-out top section of stalk and the long leftover stem hanging below the baby aloe. Do you keep cinnamon in your spice rack? Dust a little right onto every fresh cut you just made. Cinnamon forms a thin seal over the wound, keeps it dry, and blocks fungus or bacteria from sneaking in while the plant heals up before its next move. Once that's done, set the plant somewhere shaded and airy, out of harsh sun. Just soft ambient light, and let it air dry on its own. This lets those cuts fully seal, keeps fungal issues away, and gives the plant a breather to distress before it goes into soil. While that's drying, let's build a disinfecting soak. Grab your turmeric jar. Turmeric isn't just for cooking. It's loaded with curcumin and other compounds that fight bacteria and fungus naturally. Take a clean glass, pour in about 2 cups of hot water, and stir in a teaspoon of turmeric powder. Done right, this soak creates a cleaner zone around any wound, guards the plant, and cuts down the odds of fungal trouble while it heals. Mix it thoroughly so the turmeric fully blends into the water, that even mixing pulls more of the active compounds out and gives you a consistent solution. Cover the glass and let it sit for a full hour. While that steeps, let's put together the potting mix. I'm using half regular garden soil here, which brings natural minerals and holds onto water and nutrients nicely, giving the plant a steady supply to draw from. The other half is coconut husk fiber, which keeps moisture locked in, keeps the mix airy, and lets roots breathe and stretch out properly. Combine both in a clean container and blend them evenly. That blend of soil and coconut fiber gives you a mix that holds water, but still drains well, exactly what you want for fast rooting and strong growth. Where's everybody tuning in from today? It's honestly wild how many corners of the world we get to connect with through this channel. If you're new here, go ahead and hit subscribe so you never miss a plant tip. Once that hour is up and the turmeric soak has cooled off, pour it through a strainer and toss the leftover solids, keeping only the clear liquid. Straining it gives you a cleaner mix without chunks clogging up a spray bottle or sticking to the plant later. Got a question or want to swap plant stories? Drop it in the community tab. That's where we keep the conversation going every day. Now stir in about 4 cups of clean water to thin the soak out. That gives you your finished disinfecting solution. Lower the plant in, roots, stem, and base, and let it soak there for roughly 15 minutes. That soak time lets the solution reach every surface, cleaning the cut zones and root area while cutting down fungal and bacterial risk during recovery. Grab a soft cotton pad, dip it in the soak, and gently wipe down every leaf, top and bottom. That wipe down clears dust and grime off the leaf surface, improves airflow, helps photosynthesis run smoothly, and leaves the plant clean and ready to thrive. If this is giving you something useful, smash the like button and subscribe so future videos land right in your feed. After the 15 minutes, lift the plant back out of the soak. Take a soft cloth and blot away any extra moisture left on the leaves, stem, and base. That step clears off lingering solution, so it doesn't sit around encouraging fungus, and it lets the plant dry faster while keeping those cut areas nicely aired out and ready for planting. Now for the main event. Grab a pot that actually has drainage holes cut into the bottom. Holes like that let excess water escape fast, so you're covered even if you get a little heavy-handed with the watering can. Start by layering some of that potting mix into the bottom of the pot. That base layer gives the roots something solid to anchor into and helps the plant stay upright as it settles in. Set the plant right in the middle so the stem stands straight, and the roots fan out naturally without folding or getting squished. Then pack more mix in around it, tucking the roots in and pressing gently near the base so the plant stays put instead of tipping over, which also speeds up rooting. And that's it. Your aloe is officially repotted. Give the base a moderate drink of clean water right now. Watering helps the mix settle into place and gives the roots the moisture they need to start adjusting to their new environment. It also pulls the soil in closer around the roots, closing up air pockets so the plant can root in and bounce back faster. Now, set the pot somewhere shaded and breezy for the next 3 days, keeping it out of harsh light, just gentle indirect light so it can rest and shake off any stress. That rest period helps the plant settle into its new spot, cuts down on water loss, keeps leaves from wilting, and gives the roots room to recover and grow strong. After those 3 days, once things have settled down, let's mix up a feeding solution to push some real growth. I've got a banana here that got completely forgotten, gone way overripe with a peel that's turned dark and soft. Instead of tossing it in the trash, we're turning it into a natural feed for the plants. Peel it and set that peel aside. That's the part we actually want. Banana peels carry a solid dose of potassium along with phosphorus, magnesium, and calcium. And when handled the right way, those minerals can be pulled out into a liquid feed that gives your plants a real nutrient boost. Grab a knife and cutting board and slice that peel into thin strips. Smaller pieces mean more surface area touching the water, which pulls the nutrients out quicker and more thoroughly. And it also helps everything soak more evenly for a better final solution. Drop all those sliced peel pieces into a clean glass. Next ingredient, used coffee grounds. Grounds carry a bit of nitrogen along with potassium, magnesium, and phosphorus, and used the right way they act like a natural boost for your growing mix. Toss a teaspoon of grounds in with the peel pieces. Pour in roughly 2 cups of hot water over the peel and grounds together. Stir it well so the water reaches every ingredient, pulling nutrients out of both the peel and the grounds more efficiently. That stirring also keeps the mixture even and helps everything soak properly. Cover it and let it sit for another full hour so the nutrients keep releasing into the water. Once that hour passes and it's cooled down, strain out the solids and keep just the clear liquid. Straining keeps things clean and consistent and stops any bits from clogging a spray bottle or watering can while making it easier for plants to soak it all up. I've got subtitles running in a bunch of languages here. Pick whichever works for you. Drop a comment and tell me where in the world you're watching from. It's honestly amazing how far this reaches. Stir in roughly 2 cups of clean water to thin the feed down. Now it's ready to use. Pour the peel and coffee mixture into your watering can and give the base a gentle pour so it works its way down toward the roots. This feed delivers small doses of potassium, nitrogen, and other minerals that help roots grow stronger and absorb water and nutrients more efficiently. As it filters down through the mix, organic material starts spreading through the root zone, gradually improving the makeup of the soil in a natural way. That creates a better environment for helpful microbes to thrive, which in turn helps break down organic matter and boosts the plant's ability to pull in nutrients. After feeding, set the plant back in a shaded, airy spot, away from direct sun. Keeping it in a calm spot after feeding gives the mix time to balance out its moisture, lowering the odds of standing water causing root rot down the line. Pour whatever's left of the feed into a spray bottle to mist other plants around your space. If you've got a stubborn ZZ plant that just won't cooperate, stick around because your ZZ plant can come back strong, push new roots, and thrive year-round with this same approach. Here I'm spraying it onto a ZZ plant. This feed helps clear dust off the leaf surface, supports photosynthesis, and delivers a light dose of natural nutrients that keep leaves looking glossy, sturdy, and healthy with regular use. Besides ZD plants, this same spray works great on snake plants too. It clears dust from the leaves, opens things up for better photosynthesis, and that light nutrient boost helps leaves hold onto their deep green shine and grow healthier over time with consistent use. Once you've finished caring for the plant, move the pot somewhere with soft, indirect light, like a shelf or a living room spot. That kind of placement gives it enough light to keep photosynthesis going without scorching the leaves or drying it out too fast, keeping it green and thriving for the long haul. If this helped you out, drop a like, subscribe to Leafy Corner, and leave a comment so we know you're out there. Thanks so much for watching. Here's to a garden that stays green and plants that stay healthy. Catch you in the next one on Leafy Corner.